Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Lakbay. My name is 4 and I hope you have a good time today. Well, I can use my skin now, which is quite amazing. That is mostly because I'm now using a different way of loading my skin, which is quite cool in my opinion. But we are now in Alpha 1.2.6, which is the last Alpha version before we go into Beta. And to me, that means I really want to have my base area, especially the walkways, be a bit more fleshed out before we go into beta. So here we have the beginnings of our walkway here, just widened out with dirt here. I'm thinking of making this into grass, but here we have a curved section of the walkway here. I'll be removing this section over there so we can have the building over here. So here we have some of the walkways here. Just put dirt beside all the cobblestone, cleaned up diagonals there. Put some more dirt here so that grass can spread over them. I don't know if that's how it works, but it's there anyway, just to speed it up just a little bit more. And to me, honestly, it's an immediate improvement. I quite like it already. Now, probably the next step for us is to figure out where our building fits inside here and also think about maybe how the railing would go. I have a few ideas, but probably none of them will work. We'll see. We'll figure out something here. That said, we already have this on the stairwell here, or on the staircase. So this might actually work. I still haven't figured out whether I want it to be one wide like this or widen it out three wide as we have here. I don't know whether that will affect this area here. I'm not sure whether widening this would affect this pier, but I don't want to affect or change too much just yet. But this might be a good idea for our initial railing for the walkway. Let's see how it looks. Here I have an interesting dilemma. Now, this railing works as a railing in the sense that I cannot jump over it. Oops. Here we go. I cannot jump over this railing. However, it doesn't look great to me. It's too straight and it blocks a lot of my vision because of the height here. So I don't think I'll go with this design, even though it kind of makes sense as it is. There are some blocks that will come later on that we can use to fulfill this purpose really well, but we don't have those yet. So I think I'll just go with straight fences all throughout here and maybe just have some fences all throughout here. It'll also prevent a problem with having an odd or even number of blocks here, because everything's just the same anyway. Although I'm not sure whether I want to have wood here as the base. I think I would rather have cobblestone. You know what? I'll try it on both sides and see what's better. Okay, first thoughts. So far I'm liking this better. I might want to break this up with some different blocks from time to time, maybe for lights, but I definitely like the wood better than the cobblestone here, especially with the cobblestone here in the middle. I do want just a little bit of variance there. However, I have not enough wood, I would say, to finish the whole walkway, but that's definitely the design choice we're going with here. I've already used so much of my wood resources, but it doesn't feel like I'm making any significant progress here. Besides that, this area here with all the corners doesn't look as good as I thought it would, but we'll find a compromise for that soon enough. I certainly did not expect have to need so much wood for all of this, but just choosing to trust the process here. Just hoping for the best, really. And just hoping that this is not like a complete waste of resources here. So far, though, I don't feel bad about it. Seems fine to me. I think I also found a compromise for the cornery, curvy sections, which is to just ignore them and just have railingless parts here. I think it's the best I could do for now. Now, I'll be honest, even though I have used up pretty much all of my wood, this is all I have left, I am quite happy with how this looks, especially once the grass spreads. This is fine, but with the green grass, it looks much better in my opinion. I will need to cut down a few more trees before I can continue, but all in all, seems a pretty worthwhile investment. So we're back here thinking about our main building, and I have been dreading this part, but I'm also quite excited to actually fill this in now. This area feels really big but also really small, and I'm really tempted to just fill the whole thing in with like one big building. Right now I'm thinking to have the lower parts be okay with being boring and rectangular, but maybe I'll add some dangly bits to the top or different shapes to the top. But I think, at least for this part, it's okay to be just a rectangle here, with the tube here for whatever mob farm we decide to add later on. So let's think about that for a bit. I think it would be best for me to start with this area here, just so we have an idea of how long this building is gonna be. I do want some space here between the walkway and the building, so a few more blocks maybe around there should suffice. Maybe that's a bit too much, but from here we'll go in this direction to start going to the side of the building, and we'll continue laying it out that way until we have the final shape here. So this is our basic rectangle here, and it feels quite big at first glance. I'm not quite sure how we'll subdivide this later, because I am thinking of dividing this into rooms, but this looks like a good starting place for us. I'll be replicating this at the bottom before we add anything else to this structure here. So we have here our rectangle. Try to make sure that it's all centered on one block, i.e. that all dimensions here are odd numbers, so that we have a nice center line on both directions here, from this side and this side. Now, it's unlikely that I'll keep it symmetrical in terms of the actual interior here, but I just found it desirable to have a symmetrical outside of the structure. Now, as I was building that, I keep thinking of what if this central building was what was actually anchored to the floor of this lake here. What if we had some pillars here that would extend all the way to the bottom? Now, if so, they would have to be very visible from the outside, not necessarily from the inside. Also have a nice coincidence here that the curve here that we built earlier happened to be perfectly aligned with the center of our building here. I did not plan any of that. There were some adjustments here, but that happened to make it so that this center line was aligned with the curve here. Happy coincidence, I'll take it. Sometimes you just stumble into the correct answer there. So for now though, I think for the end of this episode, we'll just fill all of this in with cobblestone. we'll officially enter the ugly phase of this structure here. And in the next episodes, we'll just hope for the best, really. So far, I have just the floor here and one wall, and I am already using up so much of my resources. Um, Having this here makes me want to keep this part open as a window, raise it up a little bit so that you can see over the walkways. I quite like this view here. So we'll probably have something like that over there. So we'll probably keep this only up until this level. But yeah, there's so much left for us to fill in. I'm not looking forward to all of this looking like just cobblestone, but that's what we have to do. So let's continue picking up the rest of our cobblestone there. Right. So this is what we got right now. It really doesn't look like much. It's literally just a massive, massive rectangular prism here. Um, yeah, I couldn't even finish all the walls and the ceiling yet. I just don't have enough cobblestone for that. The idea here was that I really just wanted the shape to be here so that I can add to it, subtract from it as needed, but I just don't have the resources right now. So possibly between episodes, possibly within the next episode, I'll be gathering a lot more resources for myself. Wood and stone especially are the two main bottlenecks here for me. So it's unfortunate that we weren't able to completely finish the basic layout here, but we have started with the structure. We have beefed up our walkways here, and that's a lot of progress in just one episode. And I think with all of this being done, we have our foundation to move to the next version of Minecraft, which is actually Minecraft Beta. We are currently at the last version of Alpha available on the launcher, and we will now move to the next phase of Minecraft and therefore the next phase of this series. Not really looking forward to all the resource gathering between episodes, but it's what we gotta do. But we are now moving forward with this series. We have built quite a lot so far. I am really looking forward to doing more in this world. Well, that's the end of this episode. This has been 13-4. If you want to see more, please do subscribe. But for now, the grind continues. Goodbye, everyone.